chapter 11. I wish you would bear with me in a little foolishness. Do you bear with me? For I feel a divine jealousy for you, since I betrothed you to one husband, to present you as a pure virgin to Christ. Verse 3, but I'm afraid that as the serpent deceived Eve by his cunning, your thoughts will be led astray from a sincere and pure devotion to Christ. 4, for if someone comes and proclaims another Jesus than the one we proclaimed, or if you receive a different spirit from the one you received, or if you accept a different gospel from the one that you accepted, you put up with it readily enough. Wow.
Amazing.
That's sharp, isn't it? Very, very strong.
Well, it's staggering because these Corinthians are converted Christians.
Surely.
And yet it shows how vulnerable the church is. They're putting up with this false Jesus, false gospel. It took an apostle to step in to keep these people saved.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
That's right. Well, you know what? We've noted before that in 1 Corinthians, you had a church with indications of his activity of spiritual gifts as much as any church we know about, more than perhaps others, including lots of prophecy and speaking in tongues and hopefully interpretation and other things. But all of the havoc that was going on in the church, these people with these gifts had not corrected. It was not within them to do that, and not as a matter of their gifts to correct those.
That's right. They weren't self-correcting.
It took the apostle coming on the scene and thinking about these things to bring correction to, and the wisdom for that correction to.
Yes.
Yeah. And
this is an interesting commentary on today's. And it does take some very clear-sighted people.
Yes.
To say, look, this mess is not what the church should be.
Right. Verse 5. Indeed, I consider that I am not in the least inferior to these super apostles. Even if I am unskilled in speaking, I am not so in knowledge. Indeed, in every way we have made this plain to you in all things.
Yes.
So, wow. This is a sort of a second reference, I think, here to his not being a particularly impressive speaker, not making a great impression in person.
That's right, in person.
But yet he had the power of an apostle.
Absolutely.
He had the authority of an apostle, the wisdom and the words of an apostle. And I don't know if he was a particularly enthralling speaker or not, but I think you and I would have been happy to listen to him by the hour, I think.
Yes, clearly the church is the bride of Christ here. That's an Israel thing in the Old Testament. And as always, or as frequently, the Israel texts become church texts in the New. Not to the exclusion, we always add, of a future conversion of a collective whole of national, what we'd call blinded Israel now.
Yes.
That's not excluded. But for the moment, we should never ever throw away our identity to an unconverted Jew.
Yes. Makes no sense at all.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Right. Yeah.
So the idea of us being the bride of Christ is a very noble idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
He's preparing us, Paul is, for the marriage.
Yes, it is indeed. We pick up that theme, do we not, then in Revelation, where we see this marriage supper. Isn't that an interesting thing?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
A wonderful image. We all love weddings, don't we? I mean, there's something supernatural in a way about weddings, isn't there?
It is. Yes, that's right.
It's a very, very extraordinary event.
Yeah.
And we're part of that wonderful thing.
Well, Paul is certainly being awfully forward and direct here.
Yes.
I notice his reference to super apostles.
Yes, in quotes, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Self-claimed apostles. Do we know anything about that in our experience?
Oh,
have we seen that? I would think we have. Absolutely. And of course, another Jesus, it raises the whole issue of 1 John 2.
Oh, yes.
The Antichrist is coming, but you also know that the anti-Christian spirit is already at work. And then his definition, that you must believe in the human Jesus who came in the sphere of human, in Sarki, not into the flesh, as mistranslated by Luther.
And as misthought by many then.
By many.
Yeah. But this is in the flesh, not into the flesh, and people need to remember that. It's very, very careful.
Subtle but huge.
A big difference.
Yes, I love that. And one other point I noticed in my translation, I had a different kind of gospel. I'm going to change that in a reprinting. Not a different. It is a different kind, but better, a different gospel. Flat out.
Just straight out.
A different gospel.
Yeah.
Wow. And a different Christ and a different Spirit. So the devil then is very clever, masquerading as the true God.
And so this is a little hyperbole for effect. The super apostles. That's interesting too. Then
do we have the gurus around who take people into slavery by the million?
It's interesting to me that the more that one claims of themselves, the less likely I am to be attracted to them. Verse 7. Or did I commit a sin in humbling myself so that you might be exalted? Because I preached God's gospel to you free of charge? Wow. I robbed, put that in quote marks, I guess. I robbed other churches by accepting support from them in order to serve you. And when I was with you and was in need, I did not burden anyone. For the brothers who came with me from Macedonia supplied my need. Wow. So I refrained and will refrain from burdening you in any way. Wow.
It's wonderful. It's very much an anti-tithing. If Paul is insisting on the tenth mathematically, granted, of course, that people may give generously to a cause they believe in.
Of course.
But to say that he didn't charge them for the gospel hardly suggests that he was teaching them to obey God by tithing the mathematical tenth.
You just can't make sense of that at all.
It's nonsense. Yes, I think so.
And sometimes I think that matter is driven by misunderstanding, poor understanding of the text, and so on. And occasionally, unfortunately, I think it may be driven by avarice, which is unfortunate too.
That's very, very aggressive.
But the Lord will judge.
He will judge. Yes.
Verse 10, as the truth of Christ is in me, this boasting of mine will not be silenced in the regions of Achaia. And why? Because I do not love you. God knows I do.
Isn't that good?
Isn't that nice?
God knows that his converts are very precious.
Wow. So he humbled himself. He put himself out for their sake. He said, did I commit a sin in doing that? Well, this is so well written. It's so nicely done. And he says, I robbed other churches by accepting support from them so that I could help you. Wow. And so well done. What a model, When you think about it, Paul is illustrating very carefully that these other super apostles, they and others who they might attend to, he had put himself out for the people. He had suffered for them, endured for them, went through so much for them, and these others apostles, these super apostles as they were, they probably hadn't done that.
No, that's right.
But maybe they wore fancy suits and really presented themselves well and so on. Okay. Wow.
Powerful.
But God, he says, I love you. I love you as the truth of Christ is in me. I've boasted about you, and I'm not going to be silenced, and I'm going to boast again. And why? Because I love you. And
God knows that he loves them.
That's tremendous. Verse 12. And what I do, I will continue to do, in order to undermine the claim of those who would like to claim that in their boasted mission they work on the same terms as we do. For such men are now, now he's just going to say it straight out.
Right to the
They're
point.
false apostles, deceitful workmen, disguising themselves as apostles of Christ.
Ooh.
All right.
Camouflage.
Yes. Verse 14, and no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So it is no surprise if his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. Their end will correspond to their deeds.
It's a very striking summary there, isn't it?
Yes.
An angel of light, he's pretending, Satan is claimed to be an angel of light. Of course, it does show he's an angel of darkness. It defines the Satan as the serpent, the ancient serpent, and a fallen angel, clearly.
Yes.
You can't be an angel of light, pretend to be, in fact, if you're not in fact an angel of darkness. That's a very important doctrine, because there is a group out there who actually deny that there is such a thing as an angel, fallen angel Satan. Now that's clever, because the devil has hidden himself entirely there.
Yes. Well, and if you are going to deny that there is a Satan, the Satan, then who are those who are his workmen?
His workers.
Yeah, because, and if you're going to say, well, the Satan is just your flesh, well, who are the workmen?
Agents?
Who are these agents?
It
makes no sense. It doesn't work at all.
It makes no sense at all. And Jesus then would have tempted himself in the wilderness. It's self-evident, of course. It says there in Matthew 4 that the Satan came up to him. Prosilthon in the Greek is approached him from outside. That wasn't his human nature working from inside. And then when you come to the issue of the demons recognize that Jesus was the Messiah. And Jesus talks to them. It's even clearer in the Greek than it is in the English. Well, don't tell me these are just mentally disturbed people. Mentally disturbed people as a class do not believe that Jesus is the Messiah. And James has this famous statement that the demons themselves believe in the one God and tremble. So you say to your friends of this school which denies the existence of demons, what in the world then does this mean? Explain this category who believe that God is one and tremble. Demonia in Greek. Any child can look that up in an English dictionary, Greek dictionary. That word demonia has meaning. If you don't believe they exist, you don't use that word. I want to say that because I feel passionately about that terrible misreading of Scripture, denying the existence of supernatural evil.
Absolutely. And so it makes no sense really to try to do away with, if we can put it that way, the person of Satan. When we have scriptures that we're looking at like these and so many others.
And it's been clear to practically every Bible reader. So to say that Adam was the serpent is to get rid of one of the three persons there. Adam is not the serpent. Because Adam is punished separately, distinctly, from Eve and the serpent. Three persons are punished there, not two. It is one of the most extraordinary miracles of misunderstanding in the history of Bible study, I would say. Quite
absolutely. And totally unnecessary. This is pretty easy stuff, straightforward.
It's not difficult.
Verse 16. I repeat, let no one think me foolish. But even if you do, accept me as a fool, so that I too may boast a little. What I'm saying with this boastful confidence, I say not with the Lord's authority, but as a fool. Since many boast according to the flesh, I too will boast. For you gladly bear with fools, being wise yourselves. So many clever statements here that
irony. Sarcasm, in fact.
Sarcasm,
That's all right. If it gets the stinging point home, as he intended to, that's valid. If it changes the mind, opens the mind, then that's a valid way of speaking.
Exactly. Verse 20, for you bear it if someone makes slaves of you, or devours you, or takes advantage of you, or puts on airs, or strikes you in the face. Verse 21. To my shame, I must say, we were too weak for that.
Yes.
So, wow.
Yes, we couldn't measure up to the insults of these false prophets.
Yeah, oh, my land. Isn't it amazing how well put this is? I don't know if you were sort of in the anti-Paul camp and sort of taking up with these false prophets or super apostles or whoever these people were. It's amazing to me that how would you respond to Paul and his very wise way of bringing this thing home to them and realizing he had given everything for these people.
Yes, and eventually gave his life.
That's right.
Also had an extraordinary conversion experience. Having been a murderer of Christians.
Oh my goodness.
Jesus shows up to him, literally, makes him an apostle. All of that's in his background.
But whatever anyone else dares to boast of, I'm speaking as a fool, I also dare to boast of that. Are they Hebrews? So am I.
So am I.
Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they offspring of Abraham? So am I. Are they servants of Christ? I'm a better one. I'm talking like a madman here. He says, with far greater labors, far greater imprisonments, with countless beatings, and often near death.
Wow.
24. 5 times I received at the hands of the Jews the 40 lashes less one.
The maximum beating that was allowed under the law.
Wow. He experienced that not once but 5 different times.
That's amazing.
For being intractable in the determination to present the message of Jesus. And I love that. Verse 25. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Oh, my land. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked.
Wow.
A night and a day I was adrift at sea. Wow. On frequent journeys, in danger from rivers, danger from robbers, danger from my own people, the Jews, danger from Gentiles, danger in the city, danger in the wilderness, danger at sea, danger from false brothers. Wow.
False believers were dangerous.
27, in toil and hardship, through many a sleepless night, in hunger and thirst, often without food, in cold and exposure, and apart from other things, there is the daily pressure on me of my anxiety for all the churches. 29, who is weak and I'm not weak? Who is made to fall and I'm not indignant? Verse 30, if I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness. 32, at Damascus, the governor under King Aretas was guarding the city of Damascus in order to seize me. But I was let down in a basket through a window in the wall and escaped his hands. Wow.
What a story.
Oh, my land.
It'd make an epic movie, this thing, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it, though? Amazing. This is tremendous. A lesser fellow, like me, might have been tempted to stop in this effort a long time before Paul.
You don't fancy yourself being lowered in a basket.
Not the basket thing. That would be,
Isn't that something? A city wall.
Maybe you could just make an agreement with the Jews or the Gentiles not to speak in the name of Jesus anymore, and we'll move on. It'll be fine. And
isn't that something?
Let go of this terrible problem they were having. I think
the lives of many Christians will be made movies out of. Awkwardly, but the epic story. I've often felt God loves a drama. He must love a drama. This is high drama, isn't it?
Yes.
It doesn't get more exciting than this.
Wow.
All for the sake of the immortality program and gospel.
Yes. Wow.
Wonderful stuff. That's the end of chapter 11. That's a marvelous chapter.
It was more in there than I was picturing, I think. Yeah, that's nice. So there's sort of background there that you're sensing, but we don't quite have a model.
Dangerous false brothers, false Christians.
Yeah.
The earlier passage we read says that Paul was considered to be a deceiver. We are thought by the opposite camp to be the deceivers, when they themselves are really the deceivers.
Wow. So that whole business is nothing new, is it?
No.
The best way to keep people from thinking you're a deceiver is to claim that everyone else is a deceiver.